The CFL Gambling Podcast semifinals preview picks and DFS episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, sign up, and when you do, sign up with that promo code TCESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Of course, they have CFL action. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and NFL with Rhythm this season. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the CFL Gambling Podcast. Playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs. We are here. We are back. I apologize for being gone this past week. I am in the middle of a move. Still haven't completed it because I like my moves like the CFL season. Just spread out and never ending. All right, let's go. YouTube.com. Get on over there, type in CFL Gambling Podcast, hit that like and subscribe button. The playoffs are here. I am super, super excited to watch the games this weekend, and obviously the road to the 111th Grey Cup, which will be kicking off in that filthy dome there in Vancouver, Canada. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swig It Database Dad, aka Pick D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
I am live from Tallahassee, Florida, better known as Saudi Arabia State, if you know college football. I'm like, I'll be from secure right in time for the CFL playoffs. I cannot wait. We got some bangers, and yeah. I am joined by my co-host. He is the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, the UFL Gambling Podcast, as well as this one. Give it up for No Turn J Mark. How are you doing, pal?
What up? Apologies. I'm sure the camera and the microphone are not as good as normal. We are up at the in-laws because I'm taking the niece and nephew trick-or-treating. We all go dressed as a theme, basically. So my nephew wanted us all to be Fortnite characters, so that's what we all are. But I am stoked for the playoffs. Ottawa, Toronto, first time they've met in the playoffs in over 20 years. And I don't know, I'm just ready for some good football.
All right, so you guys didn't listen to my idea to go this weekend to Bernie's?
No, that would have been good, though. Especially I got a head cold. I could have just taken a nap. They could have taken me around.
Perfect. Just take a lot of NyQuil, walk around, have them.
Excellent.
Put you in a wheelbarrow, just take you around town. You would have been fine. Yeah, buddy. I mean, look, I missed out on last week's action. There were some fun games, sort of. You know, my opinion of the walk-off Rouge. I think it's fucking terrible, but
and not even with a missed field goal, with a punt. I did not like that.
It's such a dumb rule.
Yeah,
you should not be able to end a game like that. I don't mind the Rouge happening in the sport. It's just you should not be able to end a game like that. But yeah, even on the road, you know, it's tough. You're in the middle of Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm like, let's go to a bar. Can you put the CFL game on? It's like a fucking art town. They got no idea what the CFL is. You know.
Is that the college football league? What is that?
Yeah, what is that? College football league? No, this fucking CFL, man. Come on. Buddy, what do you make? We have some major, we're going to talk about each game, obviously ATS, but we have some. I actually saw an injury report. Shout out to that actually being released, because I know before it was hard to get information. But you have a lot of potential. I'm assuming everyone will be good to go, like the key players. But I mean, as far as when was this article done? Trying to see. I guess they don't even tell you when it was done. But from what I'm seeing right now, like, okay, let's look at that Ottawa Toronto game first. You have the Chad Kelly situation, concussed, so I think he's gonna go. Cam Dukes was limited in practice this week. DeMonte Coxey did not practice. Robert Priester was limited, defensive back there. You've had some substantial players really, and then you have the Ottawa side of things. Justin Hardy was listed as questionable. Now I do think he's going to play according to Twitter. But he did practice both games. Nick Mardner though did not practice. Big time draft pick out of Auburn. Marco Dubois did not practice, their fullback there. And then a slew of other guys were limited. Alonzo Ade in the secondary, same with Ty Cranston in the secondary, as well as linebacker Lucas Cormier. I'm just assuming this is the playoffs and you're playing a little bit of hooky here. What do you make of those injuries? Obviously, like the Argos quarterback situation could be kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, it sounds like they're planning on having Chad Kelly, but I think you're right about, guys, it's a long season and everybody knows their assignments. Everybody knows what they need to do. So let's give them a little bit of rest. I imagine towards the end of the week, they'll ramp up more and the injury report will shrink. But yeah, I mean, if there's no Chad Kelly, it feels like no Chad Kelly and no Cam Dukes would be pretty tough, because then you turn to Arbuckle, who looked decent in limited action, but is he going to win you a playoff game? I don't know.
Yeah, and then you got the BC Saskatchewan game. On the BC side of things, Ciante Evans did not practice, their defensive back, either day. Everyone else seemed to have practiced, even though they had about 12 guys listed on the the potential injury report there, but everyone else practiced. Raquel Armstead was another one. He did practice both games, but I think he's questionable as well. Lake Corte Moore, a defensive lineman, did not practice. Keyshawn Johnson, who has been great, in the second half of the season, he practiced, but he was another one that I feel like might have that questionable tag. And Alouette did practice as well. So I'm assuming these guys will play just because they practiced, but they were listed on the injury report. Just an FYI, when turning in your DFS lineup or when placing your wagers. But let's get to this action, folks. But before I do that, want to tell you, thanks for listening to the CFL Gambling Podcast. We appreciate you. If you can head over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, we've learned that this algorithm really helps us. Spotify, the good people at Spotify actually, because sometimes you're sharing it, you're liking it, you're giving it a 5-star elsewhere, and they're keeping you down because they're in bed with ESPN or something. I don't fucking know, right? Just get on over there, give us a 5-star rating there on Spotify. Only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. All right, here we are. So Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, the Ottawa Red Blacks are heading to Toronto. Good old BMO Field there. This one is fast, and the line is actually telling you Chad Kelly's playing, in my opinion. Toronto's laying 6.5. That's at -105 on DK. The over under set at 51.5. The money line is -305. If you're on the Red Blacks, you can get +245 on that money line. I also should note that the weather high of 47 that day, so it's gonna be a little chilly, but I feel like that, you know, these Canadians are used to it now. 6.5 is a big number, but it's just been the way Ottawa has closed out the season, where I just say, I'm gonna lay it with the Argos.
Whew.
I know what you're doing. You're gonna say fuck Chad Kelly. He's gonna biggest moment here. He's gonna collapse.
I know you missed last week where I said fuck Chad Kelly. He's my least favorite Canadian Football League, and my second least is Cam Dukes, who was starting last week. And shout out to the chat. Since I'm on my phone, I can't post it up there, but Drunken Irishman checking in. CFL talk to get me through the workday. Let's fucking go.
Yes. What's that?
I'm all. Oh, go ahead.
No. Shout out to Drunken Irishman. Was always going to say, love the CFL and the playoffs, and you can hop in the chat and talk to us about these games as well. What were you going to say?
I'm all over Ottawa here. I know that Toronto was blowing them out in that game, but in the fourth quarter, Ottawa, they scored 25 points. Yes, it was against backups. I get that too, but I think that gave them. I don't think it was so much as they were doing so bad. I think it took Drew Brown a little bit to get his rhythm back, because Jeremiah Masoli had started 3 games. Drew Brown comes back. It just seemed like it took him a little bit to get going. I think he builds off that fourth quarter, just like he did last week when they won. And I think he says, hey, we can put up 25 points in a quarter against these bums. We can do this, guys. And I think he motivates that team. I think he just needed to get gelling. And I'm all over that 6.5. That's too many points, far too many. I love the over in this one too.
I was going to say, the over 51.5, I think I side with as well. But no, Chad Kelly's a magical quarterback when it comes to the CFL. And
4 interceptions.
He's going to light up this Argos team. I also just think Toronto is just better at almost every position here. Like, I think the line of scrimmage is all in Toronto's favor from an offensive standpoint, from a defensive standpoint. Maybe if the quarterbacks are not 100%, Kelly and Dukes, that could be the only way I see them not winning the game, at least. But I do think the cream will rise to the top, and it's rising to the top right here. Lay the 6.5, especially at home. Moving along, the doubleheader. Then what's that?
I just want to throw in that I'm taking Ottawa on the money line too. They're winning this game. They're winning this game.
Well, I don't get man. Cold.
You've been talking to Rod Villagomez of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast a little bit too much. Drunken Irishman, he is on the Red Blacks plus the points.
Did you see what he said after that? Because you can't root for the Predator. Come on, Colby.
Well, look, come on. I mean, money. You gotta split that. You know what I mean? Like if you're thinking, first off, crime pays in the sport of football. Do I need to go? I could do a 5-hour seminar on the history of the sport and the crimes by certain players. OJ Simpson may be the best running back ever, just to let you know. You could argue him in the top 5 running backs of all time. And we could. That's just scratching the surface. By the way, we can go deep on this. So okay, have fun with it. We'll talk this next week. Next game, we are headed all the way to Regina, where the BC Lions, if they can get through this, if they can get through next week in Winnipeg, they could be hosting the 111th Grey Cup in front of their very own fans. But it's a tall order. They got to go into Saskatchewan, Mosaic Stadium there, where the Rough Riders won 39-8 back on October 12th. I mean, this game very compelling, very interesting. But the line set Saskatchewan's laying 3.5. Corey Mason, the Rough Riders have just overachieved greatly this season. The over under set at 51. The BC Lions are plus 150 on the money line. If you just think Saskatchewan's going to get it done, they're minus 180. This is where I do think the dog bites. Now, I did want to do this, and I didn't do this pre-episode. Let me just do a little weather check here. Yeah. No, I'm not seeing any snow, anything. So I think we're okay. Cause a Pussy Dome team up there that 50 degrees, a little chilly, but I think BC gets it done. I have my doubts about Rick Campbell. I have my doubts about the way they've handled the entire season with the quarterback position. And maybe that could be a factor in this very game. But I do think with all the marbles on the line, they are the more talented team and they will find a way to get it done. This to me is the one where the dog is barking, where you play the money line at plus 150. I also do like the over 51 in this one as well. What are you doing here?
Yeah, so you were traveling for the recap last week, but 2 weeks ago, Vernon Adams comes in. They start him over Nathan Rourke, and he looked really good. It was some of that. There were some plays where it's like they've been missing that. Credit to Nathan Rourke, he's been okay, but they've been missing that. And I brought in the insider for the recap, the Canadian himself, Kyle Senra, and he kind of had a different take on us. He kind of liked that they brought Rourke in for the depth, and he thought it gave them the opportunity to just let Vernon Adams get 100% healthy. So you're not rolling him out there 80%, 75%. And he thinks the locker room they understand that, like, hey, we can win with both these guys, so we're backing both of them, which I thought was interesting just because it's different from kind of how we saw it. But I hate that they have the bye week right before the playoffs. I don't like that, especially when Vernon Adams comes back and he looked so good and it looked like they were getting that momentum. But I do think they take this game. I think Saskatchewan, they've had a hell of a season. Credit to Corey Mace. He's done a great job with that team. But I think this is where their season ends. We saw towards the back half of the season that they were so up and down. And I think BC is going to be able to take advantage of that. I think Vernon Adams is going to be able to move the ball. I think BC's defense has stiffened up a little bit these past couple of weeks. And I think they are a dog. And a live dog, very, very easily a live dog.
Ooh! I think. What do you like on that total?
I actually like the under on this. I think both defenses are pretty talented. I know the offenses could move the ball, but I think it's going to finish just under. All
right. Difference there, but both dogs. So I know we don't have a graphic, or we've talked about a huge tits parlay, but that seems like that's your huge tits parlay right there. Both dogs on the money line, maybe even a total thrown in there.
I'm gonna say I'm not going to stop there. Give me both dogs and that Ottawa Toronto over. That's just under 16-1. It's plus 1595, and that some bitch is cashing.
Ooh, fantastic right there. Yeah, look, my one is not nearly as juicy as that. As I take, the only thing I'll say is just getting Toronto at minus 105 on the minus 6.5. Parlay that with the plus 150 on the BC Lions. I will also take both overs on there for my quickly put together huge tits parlay of the week. Folks, before we get to the DFS front, want to tell you that the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy. They have Underdog Pick'em, and it's become one of the biggest menus for all the sports. NFL action, CFL action, college football action, MLB, as obviously that season came to an end last night, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. Get on over there. Boost Uber is upon us. They have NHL, should I mention? But yeah, Boost Uber's upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boost and much, much more. So what are you doing? Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, before we get to the actual DFS front, So we have we have a different, essentially championship games there to get into the Grey Cup. You have the Red Blacks heading to Montreal next week. Remember the Grey Cup, I believe. What is that? 17th, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yeah, 17th of November. But then we both have the BC Lions having to head to Winnipeg. You've seen this in so many other sports. By you getting this game, you can get hot. You saw it with Montreal a season ago.
Yeah.
Which team would be more likely to run the table here and win the whole fucking thing? Out of those four, or the two that you have winning, probably the better question.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see a Winnipeg Montreal Grey Cup, and I saw the odds makers are putting that at a 48% chance of being the final. But if you want to pick one of the teams playing this weekend that could get hot, I think it's BC. I mean, we saw at the beginning of the year, yeah, they dropped their first game, but then they won 5-6 straight. And we even said, like, is this the best team in the league? And then VA got hurt. They brought in Rourke, and it seemed like everything kind of went to hell in a handbasket. But at a time, we were discussing, like, is this the best team? And I think that they're getting back to that. I think what we saw 2 weeks ago when Vernon Adams came in and moved the ball just easily down the field, I think they can build off that, and they can be that team that it's like, holy shit, they've been missing this offense. Where has this been? And that Vernon Adams making his case of why we thought he could be the best player in the league at the time.
That I could see a scenario where that could come true, but I still think for me it's Toronto. They're just so good on the line of scrimmage on the offensive defensive side of the ball that I think that gives them a leg up. And then they played a lot of the year without Chad Kelly, and Dinwiddie, I think, is a proven winner. So I think, and if anything, I kind of like the chip on the shoulder angle from a season ago. So that would be my pick there as like who could run the table here.
I hate it.
Yeah, I understand, and I look forward to talking shit to you when it does happen. But they've already beaten Montreal once. Or wait, did they beat them twice?
I don't remember right off the top of my head.
Definitely one.
Just remember, last time Chad Kelly was in the playoffs, 4 interceptions. Just throwing that out there.
Well, he had his mind on other things. Let me quickly say. No, they only beat him once, 37-18 back on July 11th. Oh no, they beat him twice, dude. They beat him twice. They beat him on September 28th, 37-31. That's the one, buddy. You better hope. Alouette fans better hope those Red Blacks take down the Argos, because if not, there's a freight train coming. All right. All right. DFS part. How did you find the DFS slate with, this is a smaller sample size than we normally get?
For sure. I would say at the skill positions, it was fine. I had a tough time picking a quarterback. I struggled with the quarterback spot because I could see really any of these guys. I already know from your smirk who you got. I could see any of these guys going off or any of them having a dud game. So I did struggle there. I went with one that I think is going against a lesser pass defense, I should say. I'll let you give out yours first before I tip my hand on mine.
Well, look, this guy born and raised in old Buffalo, New York, so he's at home despite playing at every damn college in America. Chad Kelly, he's at 9,400. He's on the lowest priced quarterback. He's at home. This is a guy that won the CFL most outstanding player a season ago. He's already won a Grey Cup 2 years ago. Won a Sugar Bowl MVP back in the day. I mean, who are we kidding here? Who are we kidding? J Mark is in denial about his talents.
4 interceptions. He's going to have 4 interceptions.
So at 9,400, that's my quarterback. What'd you go with?
Yeah, same game, just opposite side. I do think Toronto, obviously, they have a very talented defensive line, but their cornerbacks have struggled this year. Quarterbacks have been able to move the ball on the defensive backfield. So give me Drew Brown. I think, he came back in He was injured. Jeremiah Masoli got some starts. He came back in 2 weeks ago, and he looked really good, especially in the fourth quarter. I think once he got everything going, he looked really good. Last week on the preview show with Rod, I said, I hope they roll him back out there so that he can keep that momentum going, and they did. So I think that was a good sign of showing like, hey, they believe in him, and this guy is going to just keep going, keep us in the games. And so yeah, I got Drew Brown.
I'll say this: the shakiest part of Toronto's team to me is the secondary. So you might have some opportunity to exploit that at the running back spot. And I loaded up on this game, so I went with Kadeem Carey at 9,500. I flirted with the idea, and by the way, on DK, you're going to see that Chad Kelly and Kadeem Carey is listed out. That's not accurate. Not accurate.
No.
Yeah. So jump on over there. But Kadeem Carey, I want the guy behind the best offensive line in the league, in my opinion. So he's at home, loading up on these Argos, 9,500. Did you roster Kadeem Carey?
I did. He's my only running back on my roster. He's a dog. He's one of the best running, and whether he's one of the best running backs because of his talent or because of that offensive line, either way, he's one of the best running backs in the league. Former Chicago Bear. So I had to throw some Chicago Bear love in there and get Kadeem Carey.
Yeah. I originally, I'm curious your take on this. Let me see if I still. So I originally had Justin Hardy, my former East Carolina Pirate, but I thought about this a little more and I said, you know what? Give me William Stanback. And I spread out my money just because Hardy's been dinged up. The quarterback situation's been all over the place there. So maybe the chemistry's off. Give me William Stanback on the road at Saskatchewan instead at 9,700 as my second running back. And I only have two running backs. I don't know about you, but did you roster William Stanback?
I did not. I only have the one running back, so I'll give out my next wide receiver. But in that game, kind of zagged the same way you did from Justin Hardy. This guy's got 30 fantasy points in the last two games each. Khalil Pimpleton. It just seems like he's been on fire. Drew Brown loves throwing this guy the ball. So yeah, give me Khalil Pimpleton. I think he has another 30-point game.
And what was this price again?
I don't have it in front of me. I think it's
9,800. It's 9,800. Yep. Yeah, that's an interesting one that I think is worth considering there. Yeah. He was dinged up for a little bit, right? But he's still been playing pretty good now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like to me, did he killed it last week though? Why do I not remember that?
I believe I saw 30 points.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to take a shot on these BC wideouts. I kind of stacked them. I took Alexander Hollins first at 4,300 with Vernon Adams playing. He's underpriced. They were lighting the league up.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season. So just taking a shot on that because he's so underpriced. Did you roster the great Alexander Hollins?
Yeah, absolutely. 2 weeks ago, I said he's underpriced. He's back from injury, but that these two are on fire, and he rewarded us with a touchdown. I think he does it again. So yeah, I think Alexander Hollins. It's just one of those things that for CFL they don't adjust the pricing right away, so you can take advantage of that. And this is exactly a player that you can do that with.
So we both roster the great Alexander Hollins. I also stayed in that game. I didn't have money for McGinnis, but I went with Keon Hatcher. You look at what he's done, now I will say he seemed to be getting the ball more with Rourke, which is a little concerning, but I just wanted parts of this BC offense. So Keon Hatcher at 9K was my third, or that's my second wideout, I guess. Did you roster Keon Hatcher by chance?
I do not have Keon Hatcher. So do you have one more player to give out?
I do.
Okay, same. One player in a defense. Do you want to lead or you want me to?
It wouldn't be a DFS roster if I didn't have DeMonte Coxey.
I got two. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Yeah, I got 2 as well.
Fire away.
Well, go ahead and make your case for Coxie.
Well, I just one point. Like, I think Toronto's going to win the game. I think the passing is going to be the key. Now, I didn't have the money to get a couple of their other wideouts. So Coxie's a guy that he's been, hit or miss really this season. There's been a couple games where he's had. I think he had a two touchdown performance, not that far back. But there's a built-in continuity with him and Chad Kelly over the years. I'm gonna say in the playoffs you depend on that a little bit more. 5,400. Give me DeMonte Coxie.
I need a shirt with your face saying "Give me Coxie." You got him in your lineup every week. I same game and same offense. Toronto. I wanted one of their wideouts just in case I'm wrong. I'll be willing to admit I'm wrong. It'll be easier to admit if this guy goes off, and that's Makai Polk. It seems like he's been peaking at the right time recently for them. He's a big-bodied receiver that I think seems like when Chad Kelly just kind of, he's a gunslinger and he lofts it up. This is a guy that can go up and get it. So I got Makai Polk from that Toronto offense. And then my last receiver, Keyshawn Johnson of Saskatchewan. My only Saskatchewan player, but I feel like he's been very solid for them. He's a little banged up, but I think he's going to play. I think it's more of like we're just resting because we know the big game's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Johnson plays an interesting angle there. Maybe what was in his value? I think I could afford him too. So maybe I turn in a second lineup, throwing him into the mix. Folks, before we get to our defenses, I want to let you know the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds to get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. You can build your own model, or you can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. I like to do that. I like to build my own model and have it adjust around that. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. Also has a slew of stats, research, trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. Perfect example. Rhythm went 24-3 in their props for NBA night 1 there, opening night of the NBA. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. That is BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. BetUS is also live with their Trick or Treat on Horror Street from now until Halloween. So you got all day today, to enter this promotion here, which a raffle entry to win a sports or casino prize pack. Once again, they're going to announce the winner tonight. So get in there now. You can enter multiple times. It's plus, anytime you deposit $200, you get an entry. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. All right, we're back. DFS lineups locked and loaded. I didn't have any money left over. So when it came to the defensive side, I'm going to contradict everything I've said on this episode. Give me the Red Blacks. Give me the Red Blacks at 2,700. Look, and here's an angle that's worth taking. We said both quarterbacks are dinged up. It's going to be a cold day. If Chad Kelly takes any type of hit, this is a guy coming off of a concussion. Cam Dukes, the backup, is dinged up. That's the blueprint for the Red Blacks advancing to me. Hit the fucking quarterback. I know. Oh, yeah. Can you say that in 2024? It's disgusting. It's the name of the fucking game. All right. The origin of football. Hit the quarterback. You do it here, you might be able to win this game. And maybe you don't knock them out of the game, but you shake them up a little bit. So a little pick six here, a strip sack there. Give me the Red Blacks defensive play at 2,700. Sounds like you're on the same page.
Yeah, I was going to go with the Rough Riders, but I feel more comfortable going with the Red Blacks just because I think they're going to win. And you got to remember, Chad Kelly, he's not the amazing athlete that Patrick Mahomes is, so he won't be able to just stutter step his way out of getting hit. I'm just kidding, picking on a little bit of some of the stuff you retweeted where everybody's like, oh, he's so amazing because he didn't take this hit. Well, everybody's afraid to fucking hit him because they're going to get a flag. Anyways,
It's
this is
ridiculous.
CFL, not NFL.
The fact
So
the
I'll
NFL,
digress.
shout out to Matt Chatham, the former Patriots linebacker that I know. He subtweeted that saying, the fact that you're making this an advertisement for the league is disgusting in its own right. You know what I mean? He's like, all the
Yeah,
rules have been, and telling you, buddy, like we need more people to speak up on how ridiculous that is, because if not, this thing is going to be over. Like, to me, it's already like, when I see that play, I say, what a bullshit product. That's what that to me. That's what I think.
might
But
as well be flag football.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We're referring to the Patrick Mahomes where he, like, if the, like, the 30-yard run he had instead of going out of bounds. Ridiculous play. And to me, the fact that so many people covered that as in, like, this, look at this great play. It questions my, like, do they even know the fucking sport? Like the
no,
like, it's like you're just some fantasy nerd that just is impressed with the fantasy stats and just like, oh, okay. Patrick
careful
Mahomes had a
now.
30-yard run, right?
Care, careful now. You're talking to a fantasy nerd, but I will say, I feel like over 50% of the people that comment on this game have never played it down. And it shows.
Yeah. Yeah. Drunken Irishman saying he's family friends with former Pats linebacker Steve Nelson, and he's disgusted at the current state of today's game, as he
Yeah,
should be. I mean, I wish more people would be outspoken on that. That's what was great to see Matt Chatham say that. This is a legendary special teams player for Bill Belichick's teams, and won a bunch of Super Bowls. So anyway, folks, that's our show. I mean, what else? I can't wait to watch these games. I can't wait for the week upon us. And let me just bring up one quick thing before we get out of here. The futures market.
yeah,
You mentioned BC could go on a run to win that Grey Cup, which they'd be at home.
yeah.
They're plus 1,200 right now. I mentioned the Argos. They're plus 475 on them. To run the table. They've beaten the Alouettes twice. They would have to go to Montreal next week. Winnipeg, if you're a Bomber fan, they're still plus 225. I'm looking at you, Robert Martin, in the chat. Alouettes still plus 180. If you're buying into Corey Mace and the Rough Riders at home, like Drunken Irishman in the chat is, maybe they can get past the Blue Bombers. Maybe there's an advantage to play in the extra game here, plus 600. And if you're Rod Villa Gomez, the host of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, his Red Blacks are plus 2,000. Some great value there, buddy. In your BC Lions, are you going to sprinkle on any of those?
Yeah, I might sprinkle a little on BC. I mean, I already have, I think, one ticket on them. I had somebody message because their Winnipeg ticket is now at 3.5 times the bet they placed, and they said, should I cash it out? I said, if you're considering cashing out, wait till next week. Wait till you're in the semifinals, because I think it'll be more then. I mean, we're more of our company is more of a let it ride type. But if you're a little nervous about whether Zach Klaus and Winnipeg can keep this going, then I mean, 3.5 times your money is still good money.
It is. It is. I like jumping on that Argos price there, even though I already have a ticket for the Argos. So anyway, folks, that's our show. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter at CFL Gambling Pod. J Mark is on Twitter at JMark Football. Give him a follow and make sure you check out all of his work. Does a lot of great stuff. Him and his wife host a show, the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, where they talk about football and alcohol. Who doesn't love that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you guys covering this week besides some great NFL action, with the exception to every time the quarterback has the ball?
Yeah, check us out tomorrow night. Grab a drink, sit down with us. We're doing start sits and best bets. Last week I hit 2 different 8-1 tickets that we gave out on the show. So you're winning money. Can't argue with winning money. We reviewed Basil Hayden's Subtle Smoke. Really good whiskey. They smoke the barrels with hickory smoke, and it makes a nice finish on the end there. So yeah, grab a drink and come join us.
Nice. I'm gonna have to get one of those. That's what's very unique about that podcast, folks. You got to get over there, check it out. J Mark also hosts the UFL gambling podcast with myself. I know you're thinking, what the hell is the UFL? It's the USFL and XFL. They merged last year. I know only 7 people found out about that, but they merged, and we host a show. They're having another season this year. I'm excited about it, even though I'm hearing Skip Holtz is going to potentially be gone.
Ooh.
Yeah, I a recent statement saying he wants to get back in college. So that might be a huge blow to that league.
Time to call up June Jones.
Exactly. Friend of the program. Shout out to the great June Jones. But yes, check out the UFL Gambling Podcast as well. I'm on Twitter at DColBD. I host the College Football Experience. Check that out. The FCS College Football Experience as well. And the College Basketball Experience with the basketball season tips Monday night. So Sunday night, we will start doing the episodes every single day of the season until we crown a champion in April. So every single college basketball game we cover, which is thousands. So get on over there.
It's insane, Colby. You guys are insane, but it's a fun time.
Thank you, buddy. We like being insane. That's why, that's the only way to be legally insane is to, if not, I'd be committing crimes. All right. Out on the streets. Anyway, folks, till next time, enjoy this wonderful weekend as we roll on to the 111th Grey Cup. Cannot wait. Feel free to tweet us with any plays, any props. That's another thing we can touch on next week. I think is the prop market, the first touchdown. I'm just going to go ahead and just off the top of my head right now, give me the likes of how about my boy DeMonte Coxey plus 1,400 first touchdown of the game. Red Blacks Argos. I know your boy Makai Polk plus 1,300.
I'm going either Kadeem Carey or Cam Dukes.
All right.
Short yardage.
The carry one is up. So, and he's saying that's plus 420. No, plus 500 for Kadeem Carey. Cam Dukes, though, I don't even see him on the board. He's not even on the board right now. But your boy Khalil Pimpleton plus 1,600. Get on over there. Some great stuff there. Next week we'll do a deeper dive into that, folks. Till next time. This is the CFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking, and the whole world's looking with the gamblers. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know